Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Saturday Spotlight. I have the ever incredible Will Forrest here with us today. I'm so excited for you to meet them. I have read one of their many books and it's absolutely fantastic. So not only are they a wonderful person, but I definitely have a book recommendation with them as well. How are you, Will?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So I know the book that I read was called The Old Razzle Dazzle, which was fantastic. But you have a total of 16 novels/novellas out in the world. Is that right?
Yep, that's at last counting, that's about how many there are.
That's fantastic. Can you describe for people who might be new to your work just kind of, the general themes of what you write with?
Yeah, most of my books are romance books. I tend to write queer characters in my romance books, but I like sort of all sorts of genres. I started with historical. Now I'm kind of moving into some paranormal stories. I'm right in the middle of finishing contemporary paranormal shifter series, which I refer to as disaster gay werewolves in love versus the military-industrial complex, because I like a little plot in there with all the feels and the kissing. But
that's so fun.
I write a lot.
Yes, no, you definitely do, and I think the brief snippet into your work that I have was more on the historical romance side. It was the old London, the old theater scene, which is like totally right up my alley. And your book was actually the first romance that I've ever read, and I think that you're a fantastic writer, so that certainly helps.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it was, it was so touching and endearing, and like I felt for all of the characters, even in, it covers a lot of ages, that
Right.
story, right? And you feel for people at every age, even though we're all different, right? Who we are in our 20s versus who, we are or will be in our 50s and 60s, I would hope, are very different people. But no, it was really masterfully done. How did you kind of embark on this process? Like, what was your first introduction to writing? How did you get there?
Well, I mean, I've been writing seriously for about 10 years right now. I've been keeping track, so since 2013, I think I've written about 1.8 million words.
That's crazy.
And so about 4 years ago, like right now, in February of 2020, I started writing and self-publishing, and I started writing with historical romance shorts. It was erotica, but it was still a time. It was just on the cusp of what they call the gold rush. Like, you could still just pop a story on Amazon and people would buy it, and that literally kept me going for a couple of years. And then I just wanted to kind of enrich the stories I was telling, so I started to try writing novels. And the main character in the Old Razzle Dazzle, Izzy, is very near and dear to my heart. And so I wrote a few short stories about him, and then he just kind of kept insisting and became this fuller and more interesting character, to the point where I wanted to show him in all the ages of his life. So the Old Razzle Dazzle is him as like a young man, and then him in his 60s, kind of reflecting on the journey. And I couldn't let him go. I just wanted to keep telling stories about him because I really got attached to him.
He's a very enigmatic character. Like, he has so many different facets about him. Like, he's obviously this like strong, grizzled like theater veteran. So, but with all of the accreditation that would come with too, right? But then there's like this sensitive side to him, and there's even though it's a queer romance, the phrase touch her and die, like he still has that type of quality, but not in that way. Like, I don't know, it's just a really clever, beautiful spin on that because he's so fiercely protective and he loves, but he loves in so many ways other than just sexual, right? You know, so I could see why he stuck with you. He's absolutely fantastic.
Well, I did want to actually kind of dwell on the different kinds of love that people have. Like, I think that queer friendship, particularly as people age, like growing old while queer can be really difficult because you don't always have children. You're kind of maybe isolated from a lot of the structures that support people who get older. So I kind of wanted to show like the value of friendships in that context. You know, part of the reason he likes Telford is because he can see himself like this struggling young man who's gay and trying to come out, but isn't really safe to, and has all these feelings that he can't really cope with. And so I liked the idea of having this intergenerational friendship, which is something that gets kind of ignored a lot too. But I mean, very strong friendships can happen between older and younger people, and they you know, they learn from each other, and sometimes it is, you know, just a good, really nice kind of friendship to write about.
Yeah, it feels safe. Like if I were to, you know, just pinpoint one word, like Izzy is very, when he cares about you, like you feel safe. It's, I don't know, it's really special. So how did you come up with the character of Izzy? I know, you know, you said it was someone that you started writing about in like these shorter stories and you just couldn't let him go for all good and valid reasons. But how did you, you know, come across developing Izzy or any of your other characters? Is there a process you go through? Do they come to you in dreams? What's it like for you?
I don't know that I have like a very concrete process. Sometimes it's more a matter of just fleshing out the story idea. Like I think I do kind of start with the germ of a character and then what they might end up going through, and then I will kind of collect ideas about this personality until I have enough that kind of makes up a body of a story. So it's sort of a amorphous process at that stage, and I kind of get to know them. Like I didn't think that I was going to end up writing 2 full novels about Izzy. There's actually a prequel to the Razzle Dazzle, which is quite a lot spicier. I will warn anybody. But I mean, it wasn't intended at all. I did not think that I was going to go that far with this. A lot of my ideas are like that. Like the disaster gay werewolves was a very silly idea, and I'm like, it kind of came to me, and then I wrote 2 novellas without even trying. So I'm like, obviously this idea has some weight, and then I got, you know, a couple of good reviews back about it. One person saying there was like a twist they'd never heard of, and it was really a new kind of thing for them, but they loved it. They had really connected with it. So whatever the secret sauces I have is working out pretty well right now. So I just, you know, I'm hoping just to connect with more readers and get some more eyes on the books, because I think that I think I have a lot to offer here. A lot of different kinds of books too, right? Thanks.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, having your root in, you know, queer romance, but then trying out different styles and genres, and I think that not only with your talent, because you are so talented, but in that genre too, there's a lot of areas that are unexplored currently in the popular eye, if you will. So I think there's a lot of room to play, and I think that you take up, you know, some of that room, and you really, I mean, from my perspective as a reader, you have a good time. Hopefully as an author, you feel similarly, but you know, you have a good time, and you really bring nuanced viewpoints. It's not the same thing that you've read 17 different times. Like, I write YA fantasy. I love my YA fantasy, but with books that I love, they have I can, you know, 3 to 5 of them kind of all have the same plot with like different characters and different backgrounds. But like, that's just kind of the way that genre is. But yours is Yeah.
the tropes are like super established, right? And it's sort of like a lot of even in romance too, some things you just cannot mess with. People expect certain stuff to happen in the story, and if it doesn't, then they get really kind of they get very vocal about it these days.
Yes, I could see that. What is it like writing in the romance genre, especially from the point of views that you take?
I'm a little bit of an outlier in my genre. Like, to write historical stories that are queer is very small kind of group, and then sort of like contemporary stuff is like I feel I'm a little bit of a fringe on that. So I'm kind of occupying this sort of strange middle ground. But it's an okay place to be. I like having the flexibility to write whatever I like, and I'm hoping that readers will just like what I write, whatever it is, that they'll kind of vibe with how I write and my themes, and not worry so much about exactly what the story is. That's how I read. Like, if I like an author, I generally like all sorts of different books they like. I don't read like just dark romance or just one kind of fantasy. I'm really fussy, so I like my books to be very high quality, right?
It's okay. It's okay to be fussy.
Yeah, but it's a fun time in writing. Like, I've been at it for a while, so I'm kind of seeing markets change and seeing how readers are changing, and I think that like queer books in general are having a total moment right now, like on
As
Instagram.
they deserve. It is well overdue.
Yeah, and it is about time, and it's fun to kind of take up more space in the romance, and just also not just that genre, but all of the genres. Because it's fun to have queer rep in every genre. It can be a science fiction story and no romance at all, but still the fact that people exist as queer people in these stories is important. It's not shoving it in other people's face, because if you're queer, you've had straightness basically shoved in your face your whole life. So we're here. So it's great to have just normal representation. There's books where characters happen to be queer in them, and then they go through some stuff like every other character does. So it's really fun to see that coming alive in the reading space.
I love it. I think that it's so good and it's needed, and I think that there's definitely a bit of like normalization that should just be out there. Like, I don't think it's something someone should create. I think it should just exist. Like, there are people of all different everything, right? No matter what it is, hair color, eye color, skin color, gender. Like, pick any one attribute, and there's, dozens, if not hundreds of variations on any specific thing. So.
Yeah, there's like no right way to human, right? There's all
right.
We can be who we want and read about that as well. So
100%.
Good time. I like it.
Yes, it is. It is. So, for people who are just kind of learning about you, do you have any events, promotions, news, anything like that coming up that people might want to follow?
No real specific plans. I'm going to try and get out to some local book fairs in my area in Southern Ontario this summer, so hopefully I'll be around to that. But I don't have any dates or anything like that. If anybody wants to find out more about my books, they can just go straight to my website. It's willforrest.com, Forrest with 2 R's. And you can join my newsletter there. I have free stories there. All of my various books are listed with buy links. So whatever's up, it's on my site, willforrest.com. And that's probably the best place to start.
Well, and I know, too, that, your Instagram is absolutely fantastic. So if there's any viewers out there that are on Instagram far more than you want to be, like me, then I definitely recommend checking out Will there. Their posts are always interesting and engaging. And what's your tag on Instagram, Will? I forget.
Yeah, Will Forrest, the writer.
Perfect.
So all one word, but yeah, Forrest with 2 R's. That's the only secret.
Great.
But, yeah,
well,
I get around. That's me on. That's me on Facebook. I'm on Threads too. I'm quite chaotic on Threads. If anybody wants to like see me like with all the with the mask off.
I haven't ventured over to that platform yet. Maybe if I do, I'll have to check yours out first.
It's a hoot, but yeah, I actually I have taken a little break off of Instagram. I've just been kind of trying to get all my plans ready for the year, and it's just so easy to spend, time you don't really have.
Yes.
Browsing around on there. So, but I mean, it's yeah, I do post there quite a bit. So, I'm hoping to be more reliable this year. So that's where I make a lot of book announcements and.
And your cosplay, you have the cutest Aziraphale cosplay ever. I liked your Sally one too, but your Aziraphale one was so cute.
It's just my clothes. I mean, I just I like to dress up. It's I'm just discovered. I think it's one of my stims. I realized that like just having fun things to wear is keeps me busy. Keeps me happy.
Oh, I love that for you. I know that those types of things are so important for all of us. But I do think that wraps up our time for today. So thank you so much for everyone who joined us this week. I hope you have a lovely weekend, that you have a lovely week ahead, and that you've enjoyed meeting and talking with Will Forrest as much as I have. Until next week, everybody, take care. Bye.